nothing your body does is random, and everything we know is just mold that grew in a petri dish called space. There's been clearer videos of ghosts than there have been of aliens and UFOs. Simulation theory, I honestly don't think it makes any sense. If you master the dream world, then you can master the afterlife.
Too late, don't wait. Take care of your mental health. Take control of the cards that you was dealt. You can make it far, hey, don't doubt yourself. Every time you fail, just take it as a win. Keep in mind that we all learning.
Thank you. Hey everybody, welcome back to the CayVin Universe Podcast. Thank you for joining us, spending your day with us. What's been going on?
Nothing much. I think we're just still trying to play catch up on like life after, we spent the whole weekend out of town last weekend for our daughter's birthday. Turned 3. So yeah, I just feel like we're starting to just slowly get back into it.
Yeah, what better way to get back into it than to go right into the thing that we all question and we all wonder is, what is death? So there's a very special episode that I kind of been wanting to do and just kind of talk about all the theories. Of course, this is a side of our personal beliefs and our personal, thoughts, because of course we're going to stick to our personal thoughts. Right. And growing up, accepting Jesus and things like that. So like, I'm not trying to, I guess, be blasphemous in exploring these topics. So yeah, this is just a basically outside the box perspective of things. But anyway, let's get right into it. So, of course, number one, there's the typical nothingness, annihilation, consciousness ends completely. When the brain dies, there's no awareness, no self, no continuation. So you mean to tell me we were yanked out of 13 billion years of oblivion just to experience life for 50 to, 90 years, and then we go back to the void? I don't believe that. And you would think that makes the most sense, but the more you think about it, it's like it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it doesn't. Just like what you're saying is just like, yeah, if we came from like, I feel like if we're going to nothing, we would came from nothing, but that's just seriously, I just feel like that's not the case. And it's funny how this is like the number one, because it's probably like the number one top like thought of other people of like what they think. So it's
right.
Funny to start with this one is like the worst one to think of.
Right, because you were to think, like, if you were to think about it scientifically, then yes, when the brain dies, the memory dies. But if you want to talk scientific, like, scientists don't even understand what consciousness really is. Scientists don't even understand what dreams really are. They're just like, oh, just random things that your brain is doing. It's like nothing your body does is random.
Yeah.
So why are dreams just random? Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
So, like, yeah. And if this were true, I love to use this analogy. It's like, if this were true, everything we know and the whole earth and space and universe and everything we know is just mold that grew in a petri dish called space. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it definitely doesn't. It definitely doesn't at all.
And then also, I like the idea that, like, yeah, we've talked about this before, that, like, what if your consciousness, and, there's theories out there that your consciousness isn't just in your brain, it's, like, out there, and your brain is the receiver. Mm-hmm. And then, the whole thing about the pineal gland and, in the back of your mind, that's the thing that's responsible for shooting your consciousness or so off into the next thing. So I don't know. There's just we'll get into the next theory, because if we already covered that, and then we'll be the judge. I'd seen no. You guys?
Well, I was gonna bring up.
We're rusty.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll do some editing.
Okay, I was gonna bring up the. It's funny that you say that pineal gland, because didn't you actually like bring up like a theory to where, like, if that's destroyed, like, doesn't that mean that doesn't that mean that like destroys any other possibility?
I've thought about that, like, that's kind of like, what if that's destroyed, like, that would suck.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, you brought that up before. That it's
just something to think about. Yeah,
exactly. Yes, for sure. And then, like you were saying, of course, like the next thing would be that people are saying that people like assume is like heaven or hell. That's like, of course, I would say the next most popular one. And it's just like, we have our own different theories, I'd say, right? Like of what hell actually is.
Yeah, I mean, if it exists, is it like the typical fire burning hell? Is it like what Nordics or Vikings believe, which is just like a frozen wasteland, or is it just darkness, or even if there is one, is it in Saturn? I don't know if you ever heard that theory
Oh,
that
yeah.
Saturn supposedly could be hell. Like, yeah, what if hell's just another planet, just like heaven could be another planet.
Yeah.
And then you have to just go into the different types of heaven. Like, what is heaven? Is it just having fun up in the clouds, or is it like another planet, or is it more of a consciousness thing where you and other consciousness are just joined together in harmony?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I my theories are kind of mixed on a lot, because I feel like heaven is subjective to like what you know it could be good, but just not in the way we envision it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes. And then like the other things too is like, obviously people like assume that like when it's time to go to heaven or when you die, like, you have to be judged, I guess, sort of in a way. So it's like the fact of like thinking that like if something happens and like I die, then I have to like relive like or see all of this stuff that I did like good and bad in my entire life. It's like at that point it's like I don't want to, I'm leaving that behind, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to
But that's
I
the
don't want to
point.
see it all. But yeah, I guess I do understand that.
But yeah, see, but then that goes into the different types of heaven, because heaven is pretty much every religion believes in a heaven and a
Hmm.
great afterlife. So it's just like, yeah, which heaven is it? Do you have to wait till Judgment Day?
Yeah.
Is it just, sitting down and reviewing your life? Or is it like, yeah, there's many different types of
Yeah.
ways to get to heaven, the pearly gates and stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
I still believe in, with, yeah, my beliefs. I believe in this more than the first one, the
Oh
number
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So, um,
I can't believe number one, actually. I should have mentioned that.
yeah, and then we'll get into this, but like maybe because I don't want there to be a hell, I don't really believe that there's a hell, I'll say, because I believe there's heaven, and I believe if you didn't do good in this world, like, then you get another chance to try again, and that's essentially what reincarnation is.
Oh yeah.
So essentially earth is hell, because if you do bad, then you just get recycled back into the earth, and then
Right.
if you do good, then you get to
Yes. Yeah, no, reincarnation is just like that, the sort of thing. But like, I feel like I like your idea of like reincarnation, like if it's like for like another higher, like a higher power, like not going backwards. You know what I mean?
right. There's religions that believe that, yeah, when you reincarnate to the next level up, I
Yeah.
guess you could say.
I
So
would
it's
feel
like
like that would be worth it.
at one point we're fungi, and then we're reincarnated to a bug, and then we're reincarnated to an animal, and then reincarnated to a human,
Yeah.
and then are we gonna get reincarnated to like an alien or
Yeah.
something of higher? I mean, yeah, that was number 4, but yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about number 3. We'll go ahead and say reincarnation. So yeah, you're born to get a new body. Common
Mm-hmm.
versions include karmic rebirth. See, that's what I'm saying. Spiritual progress and cycles of life and death, meaning that you have to advance. You
Yeah.
haven't advanced yet, so you got to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, that's crazy.
That would be funny if that's the case, because imagine everybody in their life has at least been like, oh, I don't want to die and be reincarnated to a bug or like,
Yeah, 'cause
something
that's
terrible. And it's like, well, if reincarnation is a thing and it is like how you say, like karmic rebirth, like we've already done that. So we're
right.
good.
That's what I mean. You have nothing to technically worry about even in the
Yeah.
next life, because then you're just going to be reincarnated again. But
Yeah.
I mean, still, it kind of like sucks, because like, yeah, I don't want to be reincarnated to like, if you make it through this life without like any hiccups, like I don't want to be incarnated to like where you. I mean, I guess that's the karmic part
Can
where
I
you
be
have it worse.
reincarnated rich next?
Like, yeah, you're reincarnated. Yeah, you're reincarnated in one of those beagles that they freaking did experiments on. Like, what?
Ew.
Like, that would suck.
That would totally
So,
suck.
like, yeah, I hope if reincarnation is true, then yeah, you go up the next level up to
Yeah.
a higher being at least.
Hmm.
Yeah. But then there's what was 3, soul survivor?
Soul. Oh yeah, number 3 was a soul survival. So a non-physical soul continues after death, and the soul may stay conscious, travel, rest, or move on to another realm.
So it's kind of like a ghost, but not stuck.
Right.
That's cool. I like that, because I've thought about that. Like, what if like you're just like get to float in space? You
Yeah.
can come back on Earth if you want. You can
Or
go to another
travel.
planet. You just travel.
Yeah.
Go to other realms. Dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, because it's like, after death, you just, even with reincarnation, like the memory wipe and stuff, it's like you still want to be you. Like, that's a whole thing, because the soul technically you can say is not proven, but I think the soul is proven, because like I said, what do scientists not understand? the soul, they don't understand dreams, they don't understand death, and they don't understand consciousness. But we know consciousness is real. We know we're here. We know we're ourselves. We can think, yes, I'm conscious.
Yeah.
So I think essentially our consciousness is our soul.
Yeah.
And you just want to be conscious and you want to be yourself after.
Yes, and I feel like that's like a big thing too that like I've like made known to you, like I've brought this up before, and it's just like the fact that like, you know, imagine somebody who's like blind or somebody who like has lived their life not being able to see. Like, is it a thing that when they're in the afterlife, can they see then, or do they go to the afterlife blind also? It's just one of those things. Like, I would hope that, you know, we've talked about this before. We would hope that we're like our perfect selves.
Yes, like beauty, you
Yeah.
know, like we're like our perfect versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I mean, think about it. It's like, oh, how can you be conscious? How can you see and hear and stuff like that if your body's dead? It's like when I close my eyes in my dreams and my eyes are closed, I can see pretty vividly.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I can hear pretty good different things in my dreams. I can smell. Like, you have all your senses in your dreams, but yet your body is essentially like out. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes.
But yet you're physically present. Like I said in my dream last night, it felt so real. Like, and so maybe that is your consciousness. That's how real your consciousness is. And essentially when we go, it's just like another dream. And maybe dreams are a test. Maybe dreams, why we have to sleep every night, why we have to dream is because like we're supposed to, as we live, we're supposed to master that technique. So when we do go, we know how to maneuver. Like basically if you master the dream world, then you can master the afterlife because you won't be scared and you'll know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
You won't lose control and spiral out.
Yeah. That's really good practice, I guess is what basically that is. I like that idea. That's cool.
I just thought of that right now. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. Yeah, it just came to me. But yeah, so that's good. That's good for the 4. And then we got spiritual world, afterlife realm. Death is a transition into a separate dimension or realm. The dead may remain aware and interact with living people in limited years. So, but see, Ghost is next, so it's kind of not the same as. But that's the thing I was telling you about the scientists. Speaking of dreams, the scientists like that when we dream, we go to this thing called like the echo realm. So yeah, I guess that's what it is. It's like Ghost, but you're like in a different realm.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
limited ways.
well, because maybe there's a different realm. Like, just think like about like ghosts who do like hauntings,
Right.
ghosts who like like terrorize people, and then the ghosts that are literally like just there to just like send a sign to a loved one. Like
Right.
maybe I can definitely understand that could be a different dimension or realm because. Yeah, you have to be like at a certain place to be able to like do crazy stuff like that. Like, you know, like move stuff or make noises or even go as far as to show yourself. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Now you get into like Mortal Kombat stuff with different realms and stuff like that. But like, what if that is based on how you lived your life? You're assigned a different realm after.
Oh.
Whoa.
See, it's like how.
That's kind of like Beetlejuicy too.
Yes, Beetlejuice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, so the spirit world was an afterlife realm. 5 ghosts, earthbound spirits.
Number 6 would be ghosts and earthbound spirits. Of course, some spirits do not move on right away. Yeah. They may linger because of trauma.
Yeah.
Unfinished business or attachment, of course. Typical ghosts, which is crazy because we've seen a lot. I mean, you know, there's a typical ghost adventure and all these ghost shows that really don't do anything. But like, we've seen some legit freaky ghost videos of like, especially like the Civil War. Like where they had Civil War bases, they've like captured, you know, like people like actually walking and then they just faint into like nothingness. It's like there's been clearer videos of ghosts than there have been of aliens and UFOs.
Yes.
Like, think about it.
Right.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
That is really crazy.
So you know, that's the chances, if we had to rank these, you know, we're not ranking them, we're just going through them, but that's pretty high on the thing too. You know, especially with the unfinished business, especially if there is something else to go on after.
Yeah.
But you're just stuck here, and you know, then you would have to go into mediums and like ghost hunters that say they have seen things and stuff. But it's like, man, I just hope those people aren't douchebags and they're really being real. Like, we've had ghost hunters on the show, we've had mediums on the show. It's
that's
like,
what I was gonna say.
at the end of the day, just like, come on, be good people, don't be douchebags. Like, if you really like have seen this or felt this or talked to this, like, be real.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Is I feel like that. That's funny you brought that up because we have an old episode. If y'all go back and watch it, it's one of my favorite guest episodes with Christy Sumner, and she's a paranormal investigator, and she literally has like this whole own personal story about like her own grandparents And then this own experience that she went and she with her team investigated this like prison and how like there was like a bunch of like activity there, and that's where we talked about like the unfinished business type, especially like people who did bad things when they were here on Earth. They could literally fall into that ghost earthbound spirits to where like they don't want to move on, or they don't want to go on to the next thing because they're afraid they're going to go to hell. So like they're staying here, and that's how they end up still in these like random abandoned prisons, because that's where they, ended.
Right.
So,
And then
yeah.
that would be my biggest question: was like, are they stuck there, or do they just feel comfortable there, so they stay?
It could be. It could be for any reason. Yeah, maybe they have a choice.
And like hospitals, like the abandoned hospitals.
Yes.
Yeah. And then number 7, Purgatory. So I mean, of course, everyone knows about Purgatory. Basically, I've always heard, thought about it like, the part between heaven and hell, and not really earth.
Yeah.
Death leads to temporary in between state. The soul is purified, tested, or prepared before moving on. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in Purgatory, I think of like that SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob or Squidward is trying to go in between like the past and the future.
Yeah, so
And
it's
then
like a machine, right?
Yes, and he ends up in just like it's just all white everywhere.
Yes.
And he's like alone.
Oh God! See, I couldn't Yeah, that would be my idea of Purgatory. Is just like all white.
Yes. Well, I would hope you're with other people if it's real.
Right. There's other people who ended up there too. Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah.
That would be sad to be isolated in Purgatory.
We're like, what are you in for? I'm just waiting.
That sounds like a good title for a song.
Right?
Isolated in Purgatory.
I'm pretty sure that's a lyric somewhere.
Yes.
Somewhere in an emo or metal song. That's a lyric.
For sure.
Isolated in Purgatory.
Okay.
Yeah, can you read number 8?
Number 8, Ancestral Existence. So the dead join a spiritual community of ancestors. They may be seen as guides, protectors, or as part of a continuing family line. That's cool. That's like I've heard something like that like my fucking great grandmother could be the one in charge of watching me, or watching over me. It's so crazy.
Yes, I've always we've talked about that theory, and I've always liked that theory too, because this is kind of like a version of kind of heaven too. I mean, a lot of these could be, distinguished between that heaven or hell, but yeah, this is good because like I've even told you that like what if like when we go like we're in charge of our grandkids like 1,000 years in the future. We're like essentially the guardian angels of our bloodline, like years, hundreds or thousands of years down the line.
Yeah.
Like who would have thought?
That would be cool.
Yes,
that
and
would
then
be cool.
Our guardian angels are somebody from 1,000 to hundreds of years down our line, and they're like, "What are they doing?"
Yes,
shit we're doing is questionable. No, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
Next one would be merging with the universe. Ooh, individual identity dissolves into a greater consciousness or a cosmic source. This appears in some mystical, spiritual, or philosophical traditions.
Now, this reminds me of basically you become your ChatGPT image of what your ChatGPT thinks it looks like. I'll put that up. That's on the Patreon episode.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/CayVin. But yeah, that's like, you just become one with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like kind of like a heaven or nirvanic in kind of a way. Is nirvanic a word? It's kind of like reaching nirvana.
Mm-hmm. I think you just made that a word.
Yep. Yeah. And then 10, Enlightenment, liberation. The cycle of death and rebirth ends. The soul or consciousness reaches freedom, releases, or nirvana.
There you go.
See?
Word of the day.
Word of the day. So it's like, you just like are just nutting
at peace.
You're just like reached full
climax.
Full climax, and you're just climaxing for all eternity.
Oh yeah. Sign me up.
That's essentially what it's saying.
Oh my god.
I mean, yeah, not
it's
too
a
bad.
Lifetime
See, a lot
orgasm.
of these could be versions of lifetime orgasm.
Oh god. Okay, 11. Okay, this is getting weird. Near-death experience interpretation. So some believe near-death experiences show what dying is really like. Others see them as brain-based experience during extreme stress.
Well, that's the thing about near-death experiences. A lot of people have the same story. It's like, being presented in this like beautiful, like glowing, colorful way, and then there's shadow figures, or they notice loved ones that are coming and reached out for them. See, kind of like a lot of these can be merged together, kind of like with the ancestral thing, and they just felt warmth and loved. And then a lot of people are like, oh, that's just because your brain's hallucinating because you're dying. But it's like, yeah, like another analogy I like using. If that were the case, that would be like a computer going into overdrive as you're shutting it off. It's like that doesn't kind of make sense either. But then we know DMT, like we talked about the pineal gland. We know the pineal gland is responsible for releasing DMT when we die because it gives us the ultimate, like basically, hallucination to give us to have euphoric hallucination to get us comfortable for death, to get our body comfortable and our brain comfortable for death. But if that was the case, then it's like, oh, did the near death experience people like release their DMT and now it's like they lost it? Like, you know what I mean? It still doesn't make any sense. Like you would think that if the body knew it was truly dying, it wouldn't have done that. So
right, it makes me think of that story you told me about with Kevin Smith's mom.
God, I was just gonna bring that up.
I love that story.
That's crazy because it was in the air because I wasn't thinking about that until like 5 seconds ago, and then
that
you
happens
said
all
it.
the time with us.
Yes, it's like we know, like we're saying about consciousness and thoughts and energy, like they're in the air, and our brains, our pineal gland is the receiver.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No, it's just such a great story of she basically died, and she had this amazing story about everything that she saw. And then it makes me just think even more, like, I just hope, because that was like years back that had happened, and then it wasn't until I think recently she actually did pass away. And I remember thinking when I saw that she had passed, like, I just hope she had the same experience that she did before,
Yes, like she was going through this routine heart procedure because she was having heart problems, and she just casually, they're doing, I guess, the PICC line or whatever, and she's casually there talking to the nurse, joking, and all of a sudden she just goes out, and then she technically flatlines. I think he said it was like for 8 minutes or 4 minutes. But anyway, she said that when she flatlined, she I don't want to say literally again, but she literally felt her body floating up and just like floating in pure nirvana. And she wasn't worried about anything. She wasn't worried about what's going on. She wasn't worried about like jokingly feeding the cat. She wasn't worried about, I got to do this, I got to go here. She was just that pure like, wow, I can finally let go. And then just before she started floating in a direction, she came back. But yeah, like you said, you would hope that she felt that again.
Yes, for sure. Such a good story.
Yeah. And then that leads to the simulation theory. So, of course, death may mean logging out, resetting, or moving to another level of reality. It's more speculative and philosophical than religious. So, of course, like I said, we're taking all that aside. But it's just like we talked about with other things. It's like you can look at the simulation theory in so many ways. It's like the one thing I don't get about the simulation theory is like, oh, like so what happens? It's like, oh, so we're done, and then do we just get up from a computer in the next life, and then we move on to the next life, and then what happens when that life ends?
Yeah.
So, or you can look at it in the way of like resetting. So that would essentially be reincarnation, or moving to another level. See, it's just like, there's too many.
They're trying to be technical with it.
There's too many routes where the simulation theory, I honestly don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that. It's just like, you mean to tell me like, oh, like my battery just died?
Yes,
that's
it. Yeah, it's like, or is it just a matrix? We just become liquid. Well, then that would mean nothing happens. Like every level of like the simulation theory that you can say, it just means like another version of a type of what happens when you die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like number 13, that's another talked about one a lot, is quantum immortality. In some interpretations of quantum mechanics, awareness may also always continue in some branch. This is highly controversial, yes, and mostly theoretical.
Yeah, we talked about this in a past episode. Like, I don't believe in quantum immortality, like that your consciousness shifts to another universe where you didn't die and you just continue on there. And it's like, So that would means everybody's just shifting in their own different universes where they survived, while we get to, like, our loved ones are living it up in another universe while we're here, and then we're never going to see them again, like, just because they, like, I guess, died before us, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I don't like that.
and then we're gonna just continue shifting universes until we find a universe where we're the last person existing on Earth. Like, quantum immortality doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then this one I had to look further into it. So can you read it? Or right here.
Biocentrism says that we can all. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so biocentrism says that we call reality depends on. I can't read.
What is it? Oh yeah.
Okay. Biocentrism says that we call reality depends. Okay,
Biocentrism says that what we call reality depends on the observer.
I can't read.
So biocentrism.
Okay, I can do it
Wait. So number 14 is biocentrism. Consciousness may be more fundamental than matter. Death could be less like an ending and more like a shift in perception. Isn't that the same thing we're saying? What does it say right here?
Yeah, it says biocentrism says.
Biocentrism says that what we call reality depends on the observer. So space, time, and even physical world are not independent things sitting out there in a fully finished form. In that view, death is not a simple final shutdown because of the unusual framework of a person's existing inside space and time may be incomplete.
Okay, y'all just really be saying anything. Like, what is even this? What happens when I die? Yes or no?
Is this kind of like the egg theory? That, like, yes, that our brain, like, nothing really exists how we see it. It's like our brain is putting it together. Like, our brain, everything is really just ones and zeros, and our brain is perceiving it like a computer how a computer would turn ones and zeros into a video game, or, a video, or anything like this article. Like, so yeah, that when we die, we just shift to another form of that. So. But then again, that could be recycled into another one of these theories of death.
Exactly, that's what I mean. I think that a lot of these are just y'all really just be saying anything. But yeah, I feel like a lot of these are just like, oh, like, what if we just like say this, but we switch it up a little bit and give it like a crazy super name that nobody can fucking pronounce.
All right, and the final one.
Memory persists, self does not. So your body and consciousness self end, but your impact, memories, and actions continue in other people. This is the you live on through others view.
Okay, well, I didn't think that was going to be such a sad ending to the list. So that's basically nothing happens, but your memory lives on.
But what if it's like, no, but what if it's like Coco?
Like Coco?
That
Coco
movie?
Loco?
No, the movie Coco.
Yeah,
it's
Coco
really
Loco.
like, you move on to the afterlife, but then what happens when there's nobody in the living world that remembers you, and then you just completely fade away? That is
then you get the Avengers ending where you just fade. Oh man, see, that's even sadder.
Where you just turn into dust.
So like technically the afterlife would be purgatory in that way, and you're just waiting to turn into dust.
That's sad.
That's the old ash to ash and dust to dust, baby.
That is a popular term.
Well, no matter what you believe, no matter what this list is, we all hope that we are worthy for a higher next life. So I hope to see you guys there. Love you. What else? We're gonna have those other topics today. How long have we been going for? 30 minutes. Anything else?
You didn't want to watch a few reels?
Oh yeah, we can. It's on 170. You know, let's see, that's all I got. That's not even shit. those are terrible.
Okay. So you just want to make this a topic episode, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be a topic episode.
Yeah, I feel like you might have to do a lot of editing, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll have more reels and topics. Next week will be a real and topic episode, or a real. But yeah, we'll have some reels and news topics. Next week will be a reels and news topics episode. So I'm already stuttering, so I think I'm done for the day. But Caylin, what else you got?
I guess just wanted to say like that if you watch this far, it's like we really do thank you. I mean, I know we were a little rusty in the beginning, but I feel like we really, it's turned into a good conversation, and I'm glad we talked about this.
Yes, if you watch this far, we really love you guys. Shoot us a message on Patreon, subscribe for free. Send in message topics for the show. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
And don't forget to buy your merch.
Yeah, buy some merch, CayVin.com. There you go. They're hitting our music. Love you guys.
I smell butt ass.